Okay, thanks, Marshall. Well, welcome everyone to today's Q&A. My name is Gary Gruer. I'll be hosting. Paul Higgins will be running documentation for us. First off, the biggest announcement is, as you know, Alex was leaving for maternity leave. Last Thursday was her last day. Well, she didn't wait too long. She actually had her baby on Friday. So mom and baby healthy, and I think we'll probably have a picture later on to share. And she'll be out, I think, until the first part of October. So then the next announcement is the deadline is next Friday, August 16th. And that is when everyone needs to be LEA approved, and in the year 3 and 4 need to be SELPA approved by. There was an email that went out on Friday from CALPADS Digest that the CD wanted us to mention, and Paul's showing it on the screen now. And basically just reminding everyone that the deadline is next Friday, and that this time there's no extensions to the final deadline. And also there's some resources for data quest also in this email. Oh, as part of what's going on for end of year, you may have some LEAs may have received a letter regarding the SINC0516E3A Error, mismatch of student attributes. So we're hoping everyone has had time to work on that and get those fixed. Basically, what I found with those errors is it's usually there's incidents, but there may be more than one student associated with those incidents, and there'll be different incident occurrence dates. So they have to have the same. Each incident has to have the same occurrence date. You can't have an incident with the same with different occurrence dates. So that's one of the main things that I've been finding that's causing that. So my recommendation is, if you do have those, is to don't decertify, but fix those first. Wait for a new revision, verify they're resolved, and then decertify and recertify your reports. I think that's all I have. Angela, did you have any?
I don't have anything, but on the Monday Q&A call with the SPED office, folks were asking about the SELPA 7.x reports and even the LEA 7.x reports, and did verify with the developer yesterday morning that he's confident he will get those in this release, which means all those fixes will go in on Tuesday morning. So I promised I would get an update for those folks.
Great. And anyone from the CD have any announcements?
I'm good on our side.
Yep, my headphones are working today, so.
Okay.
For now, for the moment, right, Dominic?
Why would you jinx me like that? Oh my God.
Okay, so we'll move on then. So let's go ahead and get started on the questions. And first question I see is from Q1 from Kathy. Currently in the LEA and SELPA approved status end of year 1 through 4, I have been notified this afternoon about summer assessments for preschool. If the AP consent date is after our June 7th, 2024 end of school date, do we enroll and generate the SSID based on the 24-25 school year start date? This will be the service start date for the 24-25 school year.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Even if you have the AP signed on, say, August 1st and hold the meeting even before school starts, you can still go ahead, because I believe the GER5 error is relaxed over June, July, August. You should be able to submit up the at least the meet record. This is something we talk about in the weekly SPED data office hours on Mondays, because if you try to submit up SWDs, a student with disability status record of eligible and participating, without a plan or without an enrollment, that's going to cause errors. So sending up the plan is fine, but until the student is actually in the seat receiving services, that would be the plan effective start date, and that should also be that eligible and participating start date. If you want, you can send up a status, or you should send up a status of eligible not participating, but that would just depend on how the dates fall out between the meeting and the plan effective start date and the start of school.
Oh, thanks, Dominic. Next Q1 is from Chantel. If a student beats up another student off campus and it gets filmed and posted on Instagram, is that a reportable offense? What number would it be?
So the answer to your question is it could be, but that's going to be suspension and expulsion are administrator's decisions, Chantel. So you would need to refer to your administrator at your LEA to see what the context is and if they are actually suspending that student or students. And that administrator would need to be able to provide you the ed code in which the student violated because you all have the specific details of the suspension. Once you report it to us, that's what we collect for it. But I don't have a full answer for you because again, I'm not the administrator at your school site, but you need to consult them.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, Q1 from Joseph. Does the removal to interim alternative setting reason code field need to be populated for students with the incident result code 100 out of school suspension or code 110 in school suspension when the student offense code is not within the range of incidences listed in the SOF 0510 error? Yeah, it doesn't. If it's not within those codes, it wouldn't need to be populated, or you would get this error. Okay, Q1 from Kimberly. If we perform SELPA approval on end of year 3, should we decertify them and recertify after the fix goes in on Tuesday for the 7.16 report? I'm not sure, Angela, if we were sure if they were going to need to recertify or if it was just going to fix them.
I'm still not sure. So Kimberly, what I've been telling folks is to go in on the approved version and check that first. A lot of times the fix will just magically fix it on the approved version. If it's still wrong, but you got the notification that the fix was implemented, it could be that you just have to wait for a new revision. So then you would then they would need to decertify and reapprove. But fingers crossed that it's an easy type fix for you, that you don't have to go through all that.
Okay. Keyword from Sonoan. Can you go over Flash 284 and what exactly are we expected to do? Families are coming into the office asking about the income form, where they can find the alternative income form. Flash 284.
It's the summer EBT flash.
Oh.
I think Sean's
Oh.
probably the best one to address this.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay, so overall, yes, if parents ask for the form, then yes, your LEA should be providing it to them, whether you are a CEP or not. And Paul's driving. Paul, can you pull up Flash 284? Just because they're two similar flashes, and I want to make sure I've got it right.
I think he's looking for it.
Did not get posted yet. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks like the last one was just 283.
Okay. I was like, hold. I was like, that's probably always our dilemma, huh? Oh, please.
And,
Overall, yes.
there
I'm
we
gonna.
go.
Oh, yay! Thank you. I couldn't find it. I wanted to ask Angela. Do you know it says 280X? It's like, because when we see it, I'm like, oh, okay. So yes, you should be providing them the form if that student once the parent completes the form, if that student's eligibility needs to be updated, yes, please do so, following the guidance within CALPADS. I don't know how to pronounce your first name, and so I am so sorry. I'm going to do my best. Sinoium?
Sin is fine. I got my sin.
Okay, thank you. Sin. So if you need specific or direct help for it, please put in a service ticket and I'll gladly walk you through it, okay?
And Rebecca from Fresno posted some example forms. Links to
Yes. But please make sure please make sure what your LEA is using though too. Thanks, Rebecca. But I don't want you guys just collecting paper. If you do not need it, if your system is already transmitted to do so within your SIS and you've coordinated that information, do what your LEA has as their best practice.
Okay. The next question is from Javier Q1. How would we handle students who are U.S. citizens born outside of the U.S. and may not have entered the U.S. until just before starting school? Would these be considered migrants?
No,
No,
those are
if they're
not.
U.S. citizens, they're not. Yeah.
I think he probably means eligible immigrants instead of just migrants. And they would count. We have this question a lot because it's based on the
So that's
factors
the
of
newcomer, right?
right. I don't think he meant migrant like migrant education. I think he meant eligible immigrant. So it's their age, where they were born, and how many years they've been in a U.S. school. And it's for education. It's not anything to do with their citizenship or status. It's just, you're taking account of their education. So if that's what the question was directed at, if their birth certificate has a city, state out or country out that's not U.S. or Puerto Rico, and they haven't been here for 3 years, they're going to be considered an eligible immigrant. And it's nothing to think about. You just populate the data as it is, and it will be determined.
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, and he said that is what he meant. And then Ethan also followed up. My understanding is all this is based on birth country, nothing to do with citizenship, just like you were saying.
That's correct. Please note for CDE, we do not collect citizenship for students.
Okay, Q1 from Teresa. For correcting our seniors that graduated with a diploma that had an incorrect SWS status code and participation codes. I followed the directions in the video that Dominic created. Thank you, very helpful. I then checked CALPADS and they were all showing the correct status code and non-participation codes of 4 not eligible and 21 not eligible. But when I checked the 16.23 snapshot report, it still shows eligible and participating. We are currently SELPA approved for end of year 4, so I also checked the revised and certified as well as the SELPA approved version of the 16.23, but I'm getting the same incorrect codes. Where do I go to check the reports with the updated codes, or am I doing something incorrectly and they are not fixed at all? Well, I would, I guess one thing I would ask is when was this done? Because the report, maybe if you just did this earlier today, you might need to wait till tomorrow for the report to update. If they were done earlier, I would check the students by SSID and make sure that information is in there. If you think you posted it, but then it's not showing up for the student, that would be one reason it wouldn't be showing up on the report. But if it is there, okay, so you said you put it in yesterday. Well, we might need a ticket on this so we can investigate to see why they might not be appearing on the report. If it's showing up for the students and not on the reports, then something doesn't sound right. Okay. Q1 from Colleen. Have you already announced the CALPADS rollover dates? If so, can you please repeat?
Don't believe we have, right, Sean?
No.
So usually around mid-September.
Yeah, we haven't announced it, and that flash is pending.
All right. Q1 from Nicole. Currently, my LEA approved newest revised uncertified 7.16 report shows an inflated number of restraint incidents. The 7.18 is correct. If the fix does not end up working, should our SELPA approve anyways? What do you think, Angela?
I was going to defer to Dominic on that one since it's SPED related.
I
Hoping it gets fixed.
Yeah, I don't recall what the guidance was as far as whether or not, but obviously if we're running up into the deadline, as long as you're able to verify everything on 7.18 is correct, that's the data that informs 7.16. So in my reasonably experienced opinion, that's probably okay, but I would definitely defer to anybody who says otherwise.
I know that
Oh, go ahead,
this,
Gary.
the 7.16s that I've seen, the numbers are super inflated over what they really actually is. So I'm sure if it weren't to get fixed, whoever pulls that data would pull the accurate data from what you're seeing in the 7.18.
And my hunch is that it is something that's just rendering the data incorrectly on the report. It's not a foundational thing in the data itself, because it's also happening on 22-23 7.16 reports. So I think once it gets fixed, it'll get fixed in both places.
Oh, great. Question one from Eva. Hello, we certified last week and had no errors at all. And just now I looked at our data discrepancies and saw that we have one fatal error end of year 4, meet 64 E4 missing special education status record. Do I have to decertify the fix error and certify again? I wouldn't decertify first. I would fix the error first, and then if your reports are updated and accurate, the revised uncertified reports, then you can just decertify and go right back in and certify the corrected report.
But because you're already approved, that's an optional step. You don't have to go back and do that. There was the ones Gary was talking about at the top of the call, the SINC0516 errors, were a different scenario. Those were there prior to LEA certifying. They just weren't displaying correctly. So something in your data changed after you certified, and it's up to you if you want to go back and fix it. That meet 624 will come back to you in the fall one. So just be aware that you fix it now or fix it later. I would check with your SELPA too and see what they prefer your steps are.
Okay, Sammy has a Q apostrophe. I'm not sure what happened there. Feel free to type your question back in if it got mistyped. Q1 from Lily. Not sure if it's been discussed, but we have been receiving the following errors sporadically since yesterday. Something went wrong, wait 15 to 20 minutes. And yeah, we did notice that was happening yesterday. We got a lot of tickets in on it. There is a bug 6937, I believe.
Paul, could you show them how to get to that screen too? How did you get to the known issues? So inside of CALPADS, navigate down to the very bottom of the footer, active and fixed issues. At the top is the recently fixed items, but scroll down a little bit is the known issues, and it's sorted by newest to oldest. So you can see that the second one there is there you're describing. And it is the severity 2 high.
And it does seem to be intermittent. I wasn't able to reproduce it, but I know we got a lot of tickets on it, and other staff have been able to reproduce it. So hopefully they can get a handle on it and get it fixed quickly. Okay, Q1 from Rebecca. Known issue 6909 has a medium severity level. Some of our SWD students for our county SPED program are showing as no for the SWD column on the end of year 3 report 8.1. This is the only thing preventing us from approving. Can we improve, or should we just wait for the fix?
6909?
Yeah, that's the 8.1 that for the county schools, they're showing no for the special ed students, even though they do have the SWS records.
That one is still active.
I thought I made that a high.
Still a medium. 8.1. So that's not the data that the SPED office is going to be looking at, right, Dominic? Students enrolled in a county special education are showing N for your student with disability status.
Yeah, and right, we wouldn't be looking at 8.1.
It's probably okay for her to certify if that doesn't quite make it.
Looks like it.
Maybe that's why you made it a medium, Gary.
I don't remember at the time. A lot going on back then. And yeah, she's right. There was a similar issue with ELs on that report, and that one made it in and got fixed. That was like a week before or something. Okay. Okay, Tammy, Q1, just to confirm, since the CalPADS rollover is not until mid-September, we SACE users cannot or should not send up our transactions for 24-25. Concerned our new students that have enrolled for 24-25. Concerned about our new students enrolled for 24-25.
That's correct. With changes to the code sets and other expected values, if you were to send up 24-25 transactions now from SACE, they may have codes that CalPADS would not recognize yet. So we just recommend waiting until the rollover before submitting up data from SACE or your special education data system.
Okay. Q1 from Heather. We have a district who discovered an error in the student's assigned grade. The fix has been made and they are error-free. It seems they need to amend the end of year 3 since the student has incident data. Should any end of year submissions be amended? So the grade level is wrong. I don't think that incident data would be affected. This incident's an incident no matter what.
I mean, you have time, right? So you can hop over to the revised and certified and take a look and see how those reports are looking there. If it looks better, disapprove the original copy and then approve the newer version.
Okay. Q2, we'll just go ahead with Q2s because
And just sorry, another thought on that. I mean, that's basically what this whole amendment window is about, right? That, okay, you got it error free, you thought the reports look good. Oops, I found something. This is my time to make that correction and recertify.
good point. Q2, I'm going to go ahead and just do Q2s because we don't have a lot of questions anyway. So Q2 from Javier. If a referral to law enforcement is made for a student which was not a result of a disciplinary incident, would that referral need to be reported? For example, a family issue is reported by a student, safety check, student asking to speak with the police department to report a non-school related incident issue.
No, it's not reported, Javier. And that kind of ties into the answer from the first question, and I put it in, I'll put that Q&A in the chat there as well. So it specifically states in the FAQ that all incidents resulting in suspension and expulsion from a student's regular education setting must be reported. Education Code Section 48900 describes instances in which a student may be suspended or expelled for incidents occurring outside of school hours, but in relation to a school activity or school attendance. And so this would be what you're asking about is a behavior. You're asking about if this is a behavior incident that's reported. Since it is not tied to the Ed Code 48900, no, it's not reported.
All right. Q1 from Clarissa. For dual enrollment courses, when do we report the state course code versus the college state course code? Aries has both fields.
I don't know about Aries. I don't understand that part. So that,
Yeah.
then go for it, Nate.
You would never
don't
map.
win.
Yeah, you would never map the content to the state course code. So like if a student's taking calculus in college, you would never use the state course code because that's specifically mapped to a high school calculus curriculum. The college course code all say college, and it's going to be basic. It's going to say college math. It won't have college calculus ever, but you will always use college math. So if they're receiving college credit or dual enrollment credit, you would always use the college course code. Otherwise, they won't be identified or recognized, in this case, for a CCI credit for taking that college course.
Thank you. And the second portion of the answer is in the FAQ as well too. And so I posted that to the question.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Question 1 from Anonymous. Is there documentation or ed code that provides guidance on when to drop a student at the beginning of the year? And is there a definition of acceptable documentation when exiting a student? The district practice is to wait to drop a student until a request for records has been received from the next district. Is the parent's word acceptable documentation or information to exit the student? I recall CALPADS or SIS guidance regarding exits, however, I can't find it.
There's flash 132. Where's this? Let me just put it on the chat box.
Thanks, Kyron. Flash 132. And it's posted in the chat box. And Paul is showing you exit code data guide. And what documentation must LEAs receive for student transfers? So there's a couple places of documentation.
And so your LEA though too, I check in with your child welfare and attendance monitor, because typically your LEA has like family forward facing documentation about this as well too. So just be clear on those if you don't know where to find that at your local level. Your child welfare and attendance monitor for your LEA should easily be able to point you to it.
Okay. Q1 from Stella. We have sent up SCNR records for our 5th year returning seniors with the start date of our school year of 8/22/24 prior to the 8/15 deadline as advised. Do we need to recertify any of the end of year submissions to include these changes? We are seeing these students show up on the 15/1 as still enrolled. Yeah, if they enroll before census day, they're going to show up as still enrolled on the cohort. But nothing would need to be recertified. The 15.1 is a cohort report. Q1 from Ethan. Will pure college credit, not dual credit, still count towards the CCI in 24-25? I recall that was going to change, but I think it got delayed.
So it depends on how it's reported, Ethan. And so I would strongly encourage you to go through the 2023 dashboard technical guide, because that outlines how that course should be reported and what the requirements are in order for it to show up for the CCI.
Okay.
And I'll place that link in the chat for the.
And Rebecca posted, keep this in mind, and a lot of text there. I'll leave that one on the screen.
Yeah, that's why I was like, there are clear rules for it. So, and I didn't want to confuse anyone.
Okay. Nate, you're on deck. Susan has a Q1. Can Nate please restate what he just said about the college course documentation to be counted in the CCIs? Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. If you didn't say my name, I was doing something else. So for the CCI, if you have a college, if you want a student to be identified as prepared or whatever, and they have college credit courses, you have to use the appropriate code. And those college codes are by section, and they all have college in the title. So to say college credit math, college credit English, as opposed to trying to identify the subject. The previous example was calculus. If they're taking calculus in college, you wouldn't use calculus state course code, because if you read the definition, that's going to be mapped to high school level content. And so specifically, you really want to use those the appropriate college course codes. The lone exception, I thought about this after answering, would be your CTE courses. Your CTE courses, you report with the state course code for whatever the CTE pathway falls under, and you're going to use the non-standard instructional level code field to populate if it's dual enrollment or college credit.
Good point. Q1 from Anonymous. I have 10th and 11th grade students who do not have their final college class grades for. Yeah, for if I do not get those grades by if I do not get those grades by 8/16, can I still add the class and grade to CALPADS after the close of the amendment window? You can definitely add after, but they won't count for the end of year.
So, Anonymous, I would encourage you to work with your admin, and typically within your MOU, you guys have a date or you have a way to contact the registrar at the college in order to be able to get that information. So you can best get it updated by 8/16.
Q3 from However, as a result of Assembly Bill 2268, the TK does not need to take the LPAC. Would we continue to report TK students as TBD, and will CALPADS send to Tom's know that these students do not need to test?
Did that flash go out yet?
I don't know that we've seen it yet.
Okay. There's a flash on this coming out, and it's in the last. Part of it is in the last flash, as well too. That one I'm pretty sure. I think that's the last one that we posted. Yes, you still report. Collecting the HLS for students has not changed. That's the simplest way to answer that question. So you're still collecting HLS information for any new students TK up entering into your LEA. So you're still reporting that information. Does the TK information get reported over to ETS TOMS? No, it does not. Per the statute, no, it does not. That's outlined in that statute. Will those students be available for testing come kindergarten? Yes. Is it extremely important for you to report the student in their SCNR record in the correct grade level? Yes, it is. Okay, because if you fail to report that student as an actual TK student, and then you're sending them over as a K student, you're creating more work for yourselves to remove that record correctly. So I highly encourage everyone, if you have not sat down with any type of enrollment administrator from your LEA, please do so now before sending up records into CALPADS for your TK students, because you want to ensure that you're listing them in the correct grade level when requesting that SSID.
Okay, and there's a Q2 from Susan, which is actually the same kind of question as Javier asked. So they were both thinking about the same thing. So Sean, you've answered both those questions.
Oh, Rebecca said it's flash 280. Thanks, Rebecca.
Awesome.
This week's been a little busier. I think last week we eased up on you all.
Yep.
The week before that, it was heavy on flashes. So yes, I'm sorry I don't know numbers right now.
And Ethan pointed out the observation that the LCFF counts are going to come down this year because those TK kids can't be counted as English learners.
That is correct.
And we did get a couple more questions. Q1 from Charlene. Do we report the TBD for TK students? And that is yes. Q2 from Eva. At the end of the year, some families say they will be leaving the country and will not be returning. Then they return. Do I need to go back and change their exit code because they returned in late August or September? So they returned before school started, or I think it's up to you.
It's a local decision.
Yeah.
On whether or not you all want to, if you have legitimate documentation stating that the parent, they were leaving the country, great. And then they happen to return. There's no, I don't think that comes up as a ERD, does it? Paul?
Right.
Like Gary?
Gary?
Anybody?
No.
Nate? Like anyone?
No, it wouldn't. Question one from, or another question from Clarissa. It's a Q2. When will 6909 get resolved? I have SWD not showing on the SWD on 8.1. And then Rebecca's going back to her question one, which I think that was her question one. I think we said that that's not this special ed office isn't using the 8.1 for special ed counting. So it would be okay to approve if that doesn't get fixed before the deadline. Okay, question from Q3 from Susan. Some families indicated that they would return to the next grade with our schools. However, they have since decided to leave. For the 5th and 8th grade students from 23-24, do we need to go into CALPADS and change the exit codes from E155 to E23480? I'm going to defer to Sean on that one. I think it's a local decision on that.
No,
No?
you should never leave an E155 when they don't come back. That
Oh,
comes
right.
that comes back to haunt you in lots of different ways. So if they completed their highest grade level, I'm with you, Susan. I would do E230 480.
Yes. And I echo that, especially for 5th and 8th grade, they should be exiting out because that's their highest grade level. If your LEA goes K through or TK through 5 and then 6 through 8, yes, you should be exiting them out. And my best practice at the LEA, even if a student was leaving us for those grade levels, I kept the completion record there versus reporting to CALPADS the T160. I just left it in our local SIS system where that student was continuing to. Yes, and we agree with you, Jan.
Yep. Okay. A question from Terry. We have a student not properly identified on the 7.18. If the bug is not fixed by the amendment window and we certify and the error is fixed later, will this be an issue for disproportionality or other areas?
I wasn't aware that 718 had an issue with misidentifying. Sorry, Angela.
Yeah, we do have one, Dominic, where if the students were the incident occurred prior to the student being identified as student with disability, they're being counted as student with disability, and they should not. So at the top of the call, I was giving an update on those 7.x reports. They're all assigned to the same developer, and he's confident he's going to get those all fixed this week. So looking for our salvation on Tuesday morning after that deployment goes in.
Got it. I just found it. It's issue 6936. Thank you.
Yes, there you go. That's the one.
Well, we got 13 minutes. If that's it for the questions today, I think we'll give you guys back your time and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the help.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a great day.